Now, if you have been coming for a while, then you know that we've just begun a new series of talks based around the idea of how we can be the love all the time in every situation, wherever we are and whatever's happening around us, how to embody that Christ way of being. And if you did come to the Christmas Eve service, you heard Gordon Hebert sing this song. I asked Gordon to come back and sing it, but Gordon and his mama both have colds. So Carrie is going to wear Gordon's hat and share that with you because it speaks to exactly what I mean when I say that we need to embody that Christ consciousness. Carrie?
There was a boy, very strange and troubled. He's staying under very far, over land and sea. A little shy and sad of heart, but very wise was he. And one day, magic day, he passed my way. All he's told of many things, rules and kings, is he said to me, the greatest thing you'll ever learn, just to love, and
So the greatest thing you'll ever learn is to love and be loved in return. And while most people know how to love, and we know what it feels like to be loved, what few realize is that they only know a tiny bit of what it really deeply means to give and to receive love. Most of us just know the surface demonstrations and sensations, and there's far, far more to love. And that's what we're trying to tap into in these next few talks. And these talks come on the heels of our 6-week exploration of Jose Stevens' book, Transforming Your Dragons, Turning Fear Patterns into Personal Power. And through those talks, we began to understand the fear patterns, or dragons, which have been making our lives and the lives of those we love less abundant, less full, and less fulfilling. And we've been able to get to the truth that behind all seemingly negative behavior lies fear. Whether or not the person doing the behaving wants to fess up to that or not, fear manifests in all kinds of ways. And it all starts, according to Jose Stevens, it all starts somewhere in our early development when we began to believe that others thought we weren't enough. We weren't lovable as we are. Our needs were not met. We had no control over ourselves and our care. And all of those tough self-beliefs took control and prevented us from really, truly living life with a capital L. So I'm going to start from that idea by telling you once again this truth. And hear me when I tell you it's the truth. For everyone here in this room, listening online, and anyone in the world, okay? This is true. You are more than enough. You always have been so much more than enough. For every single second of your life, you are precious and unique and worth being adored and cherished and treasured. And you are more necessary to this world than you will ever know. And I know that that can be tough for some folks to accept as truth. I know that thinking about what I just said as being true of you can bring up some really big emotions. But know this, if it is bringing up big emotions, that is your soul telling you it is true. In his book, Embracing the Present, Leonard Jacobson's poem on page 47 is called The Truth. And he says, "You cannot receive the truth from me. It is not mine to give. It is not my truth. It is not your truth. It is the truth. It belongs to God, and it is equally available to all. If you recognize the truth that I am speaking, it is because you know it from within. I am just taking you to that place within you where the truth is known and where that truth has always been known." And that really spoke to me because for the last several weeks, I've been trying to give you insight into someone else's idea of how fear holds us back. And I've been trying to work with someone else's formula while incorporating my own take on how it all works. And although you might think that it's easy to come up with talks when I'm working from somebody else's book, it ain't. It is not. If I want to be authentic within someone else's parameters, it can be really difficult and time-consuming and kind of tiring, if I'm being honest. Which is why I am so grateful that I'm able to come from my place of truth as we move into the next several series of talks. We've got 3 more weeks on how to be love. Then we move into 5 weeks on moving from anger into truth, then 5 on trust, and finally 5 talks on surrendering into spirit. And yes, I will definitely be referencing lots of books by lots of authors and from lots of faith traditions. But by and large, the place I'll be coming from is the truth within me. And that makes these talks exciting for me because I grow as I teach. But I want to share another poem from that Leonard Jacobson book, Embracing the Present, because it matters with the things I'm going to go into as we move forward. This is Knowing the Truth on page 46. If you try to place everything I say into your pre-existing framework of understanding, then you will take yourself into the mind. You will remove yourself from the present moment where truth is known in silence. You will enter into the mind's world of the remembered past or imagined future. You will be entering the world of opinion, concept, and belief, and the truth is always beyond belief. Just hear what I'm saying. Do not agree with me. Do not disagree. Just be still and know. Okay, so he says, just be here and listen. So I've been really paying attention to my own experiences and actions and reactions, as well as observing others around me so that I can bring you the truth that's revealed through those observations. And the thing that has become abundantly clear to me is that if one wishes to truly be the embodiment of love, they need to be fully present. And that can be really difficult to do in the beginning because whether or not we've been aware of it, we have spent the vast majority of our lives trying to live from a place of someone else's perspective. Let me repeat that because it's really important to hear it. All of us, whether we realize it or not, have spent the vast majority of our lives trying to live based on our assumption of someone else's perspective. A whole lot of someone else's perspectives, trying to live from the perspective we assume everyone around us is coming from. And I know that that sounds strange and it may not make sense to you yet, but stay with me. So our parents and our teachers and our family members, they have taught us to be polite, just in general, right? So what do you say when you want someone to give you something? Please, okay? And when they hand it to you, what do you say? Right? And if someone does something kind for you, maybe you could call it a favor, you have to do the same in return, right? What I'm getting at is that we've all been trained to believe that for every action, there's a return. There's a way of meeting the polite expectations of others. So we're always living from a place of, I have to be or say or do blank. What will they think of me if I don't? And yes, I am using basic etiquette as a kind of illustration here, but if you look deeper, you can draw parallels between most actions and our beliefs about others' perceptions of those actions. So we've been largely living based from the idea that others' perceptions of us have to stay in the positive. And when others' opinions are not in the positive, we feel and respond in all sorts of different ways, right? There's righteous indignation, which I know I may be pressing a button when I say this, but there is no such thing as righteousness in indignation. Indignation is an obstacle to compassion, whether that compassion is aimed toward ourselves or others or all of the above. Okay? Indignation stands in the way of that compassion. Another feeling that might come up is inferiority, right? Because if they don't think much of me, it must be true. I'm not good enough. There's rage. How dare you not like something about me? Well, I don't like you either, so why don't we have this out like real adults? Which sounds so adult, doesn't it? There's all sorts of ways that we feel when we don't feel like we have a positive place in the opinions of others. And none of those ways actually mean anything, because the opinions of others don't actually matter. We can't control the thoughts or opinions of others no matter what we do, manners and etiquette or not. And the thing is, the thoughts and opinions of others can't actually control us either. Our ego believes that they do, but when it comes down to brass tacks, as the saying goes, what others think about us has no bearing on us. Okay, I'm not talking about others' opinions contributing to the details in our experience. Okay, any judge in any courtroom can tell you that the opinions of a jury shape the experience of the person on trial. I am saying that other people's opinions of us have absolutely zero bearing on who we actually are, the truth of us. And the truth of every single one of us is that we are children of God. The truth of every single one of us is that we possess an inner divinity which fills us with limitless potential in spirit. Yes, I see that it can, to be blunt, it can suck rotten eggs when people don't have a high opinion of us, right? But it really doesn't matter what anyone else's opinion is. And the sooner we stop worrying about what everyone will think, the sooner we step into truth and become love. Because love is all there is. As I told you last week, A Course in Miracles says that everything there is in the world is based on love. Okay? Everything is in a state of love or calling out for love. No matter when or how or why, it's all love or a cry for love. And when we've been trained to live from a place where we are calling out for love to everyone we meet by engaging in all of those silly games that we play to keep their opinions of us high, we're not living for us. And when we're not living for us, when we're too busy living for others' acceptance to know what it means to live for us, we can't really, truly, and deeply be love. And the world desperately needs us to be love. We can behave in loving ways. We can express love, but when we are utilizing the larger part of our attention to guide and guard the opinions of others, we are giving away our essential self. We're giving away our power. We are limiting the amount of love that we pour into the world based on whether or not others would approve. Now, please do not insert a narrative into my words, which leads you to think that I'm condoning or even encouraging folks to behave any way they please. Opinions be damned, okay? I am saying to start leading from love instead of looking for love. I am not telling you to voice whatever opinion you have at any time you so choose, because who cares what everyone else thinks, right? I am telling you to stop believing that your opinion matters any more than anyone else's opinion. That's a lot to swallow, isn't it? My opinion doesn't matter. And neither does yours. Not in any real way. And that is a blanket statement that I am comfortable with making today. And there's a teaching of Ernest Holmes, which I hold dear and which I really strive to live from. And that is that we should always be open at the top. We should always have our mind open to new understanding, to new perspectives and new awakenings. So what I am saying here is that while I can make all kinds of confident statements based upon my current understanding of how it all works, I reserve the right to unmake statements as my eyes are opened along this pathway of life. Ernest's manner of speaking and of looking at closed-mindedness echoes an idea that's found throughout the Bible. And the illustration that I like best comes from Acts chapter 28, and is written from the perspective of Luke. St. Luke. He and other apostles were traveling all over, visiting folks and trying to teach people the way of love, Jesus' way. And he says of certain folks in Rome, and they said to him, "We have neither received a letter concerning you from Judea, nor have any of the brethren who've come from Jerusalem made any evil report about you. Nevertheless, we desire to hear what you have to say, but if it is concerning this teaching, we know well that it is not acceptable to anyone, and we do not want to hear about it." So they appointed a day for him, and many gathered together and came to him where he was staying. And he explained to them about the kingdom of God from morning till evening. And some of them listened to his words, but others paid no attention. Paul said, "Hearing, you shall hear and not understand. And seeing, you shall see and not perceive. For the heart of this people is hardened, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes have they closed, lest they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears and understand with their hearts, and I should embrace them." See, they had their minds all made up. Their opinions were already opined, okay? And so, despite being shown the path of love, they chose to walk away. We, right here and now, we also have a choice. It has been there all along, and we just didn't know it. We can choose to lay our opinions down, to hold them as being powerless, just as the opinions of others about us have always been powerless. Do we choose to stop caring what others think so that we can be love? A couple of weeks ago, I shared a short passage from a new book I bought called Discovering Your Soul Signature by Panache Desai. And this is from pages 126 and 127, and I think it really touches upon where I'm headed with all of this. He says, "I once had a profound encounter with a monk. I asked him to explain to me the middle path of harmony and balance as demonstrated by the Buddha. I had been hearing a lot about it. What was this middle path all about? It seemed awfully narrow. It seemed easy to fall off of. I asked the monk, 'How do you stay on the path?' And this was the monk's response. 'Panache, make the middle path so big that you can never fall off.' I thought, what the heck is he talking about? But after contemplating it for a while, I realized our spirit is all inclusive. So the more inclusive you are, the bigger your path becomes. Eventually, like the Buddha, it is possible to become inclusive of all things. And once we become inclusive of all things, we have complete freedom and harmony. Harmony is our natural state. When we return to harmony by lovingly beginning to dismantle any and all discord, we embrace everything and everyone as it is. Love, the purest form of it, is all inclusive. If you truly love someone, you don't just love a few of their finest qualities. No, you love their every brand of crazy. That's how the divine loves. He says, when I experienced the divine, what I felt was precisely this all-inclusive love. The divine simply embraced me as I was, all of my crazy, all of me. We need to lovingly embrace life as it is and make the middle path so all-inclusive, so wide, that we each cannot fall off of it. Think about it. You sit down with a friend for dinner. She is someone that you love, but to be honest, she drives you a little bit nuts, okay? She says something to the waiter that you think is condescending. She tells you a story that you don't particularly feel like listening to, or perhaps you've heard it before. She has a habit of constantly humming under her breath with no real melody. I have a child who whistles that way all the time. I understand this. So she has all of these qualities, and you sit there and judge. You are having a lovely dinner on the surface, but beneath the surface, you're in disharmony. If you are sitting in judgment, you are maintaining the illusion of separateness. Judgment and harmony cannot exist in the same place. When we live soulfully, we cannot help but be in harmony. It's only when we're coming from the limiting confines of our own identity, this body, this career, this bank account, this relationship, it is only then that we experience discord and chaos. So just for today, expand yourself. Be so inclusive in your daily life that you embrace everything that is. Incline yourself in a direction in which you notice your inner dialogue. Is it leading you to a place of distance and separateness, or toward integration and harmony? And don't beat yourself up about what you find. Just notice, okay? Notice when you're moving away from love and when you're moving in the direction of love, because to be in harmony is to love. And here's a revolutionary new idea. You don't have to try. This isn't about beating your head against a wall. This isn't about forcing yourself. It's quite the opposite. Just soften. Use your breath. Feel yourself in your body. Listen to the ambient noise of your experience. Become aware of the smells around you. Really see. Look outward rather than inward. All of this will ground you in the experience of the present moment. Try not to take anything personally for the whole day. That's a lot, right? Try not to take anything personally for the whole day. What's happening is simply happening. Okay, moment to moment, put this into practice. You will begin to feel a spaciousness around you, cushiony and enormous, and at the same time impermeable. When you abide in this soulful state, you are profoundly protected from any disharmony. It simply isn't possible. Your soul is working through you. Don't be surprised if you feel slightly euphoric. This feeling, arrived at naturally, is what many reach for in the form of, we will call them medicinal alternatives. But in those cases, they're trying to check out. Whereas here you are opting in. You're all in. You're meeting life with openness, with softness, with vulnerability, with love. And I'd like to leave you with this from page 107 of Desai's book, because this screamed truth to my soul. And I know it's true of all of us. You've never been alone, and you will never be alone. I am golden luminosity. I am your beloved. I am the one you've been longing for your entire life, whether you've been aware of it or not. I am here to love you, to fully embrace you. You are my perfect creation, my opus. When you were born, I marveled at your magnificence. We have never been separate, never apart. Your heartbeat and mine are one and the same. I am the breath that expands your being. I am the light that animates your form. I am the love that floods your experience. I am the brilliance you display. I am the blessing that is shared through you into this world. You are an extension of me, an ambassador. Through you, I'm able to love all of my creation. You are the embodiment of everything that matters to me. I am always with you. I was there in your mother's womb. I was there when you were born, when you uttered your first cry, your first tears, your first words. I was there when you learned to walk, on your first day of school, when you were bullied on the playground, when you were the teacher's pet. I was there when you fell in love for the first time, when you moved away from home, when you got your first job, your first promotion, when you experienced grief and loss, when you made and lost friends, when you noticed the first lines etched on your face, when you pulled out your first gray hair. I was with you for all of it. There hasn't been a single moment of your entire life when I have not been with you. Know this. Know this with every part of yourself. Know that I walk alongside you, that I reside within you. There is no difference between us. I am you. Rest in this knowledge. Stretch out and feel the enormous comfort of this, the way a cat might stretch out on a soft rug in the perfect beam of sunlight. Bask in it. Bask in me. I will watch over you as you lay sleeping, and I will be here waiting when you awake. Thank you.